Let's look at the hyperbola where y is equal to a over x minus p plus q. So we are given f of x is equal to 2 over x minus 3 plus 4. Determine the asymptotes. Now, when we are determining the asymptotes of a hyperbola, we need to note that there are two asymptotes. The first asymptote is you take the bottom part, the denominator of the fraction here, so x minus 3. You make that equal to 0 and you solve for x. So x is equal to positive 3 is my first asymptote. The second asymptote is a y asymptote. I know that f of x is the same as y. So all I do is I take my f of x, which is y, and that's equal to the last number here, which is 4 in this case. So y is equal to 4 is my second asymptote. So determine the x-intercept. The rule for x-intercept is make y equal 0. So in the equation given, 0 is equal to 2 over x minus 3 plus 4. To solve for x there, which is stuck at the bottom of the fraction, I need to take my constant, which is positive 4, take it over, it becomes negative 4. I'm going to put that over 1 to make it a fraction because that will match the fraction on the right hand side there. I can now cross multiply. So negative 4 times x minus 3 is equal to cross multiply the other way here, 1 times 2. Open out the brackets and solve for x. You'll have x is equal to 2, 5 as your answer. So the x-intercept is 2, 5 and 0. Determine the y-intercept. Y-intercept is a bit easier to calculate in a hyperbola because x is equal to 0. So y is equal to 2 over 0 minus 3 plus 4. And that gives me a y value of 10 over 3. So 0 and 10 over 3 will be my y-intercept. Let's now sketch the graph of f of x. To sketch the graph, we need to plot our asymptotes first. So x is equal to 3. On my x-axis, I find 3. And I draw a line going vertically through that. And that's my line x is equal to 3. My next asymptote was y is equal to 4. So on my y-axis, I find y 4. And I draw a line going through 4. And that's a horizontal asymptote here. Okay, next to draw the graph, you need to plot your x-intercept. My x-intercept was 2, 5. So on my x-axis, I look for 2, 5. There's my point here. That's my x-intercept. My y-intercept was 10 over 3. So 10 over 3 is 3, 6, 7, which is here. Right, so all I do now, I can see both these points are in one quadrant here, the bottom left quadrant. So I'll join those 2 points with a curve, making sure not to touch my asymptotes. There we go. And because I have no other points, but I know that a hyperbola needs 2 parts of the graph. So in the quadrant opposite to the one I've drawn, you need to draw in the other half of the graph like so, even though there are no points. Make sure not to touch either of the asymptotes and you're fine. Determine the domain and range of f of x. Now remember, for hyperbola, the domain is x is the element of all real numbers, but it can't equal to the asymptote for x, which is x equals 3. So the domain is x is an element of all real numbers, but x cannot equal to 3. Same for the range. Y is the element of all real numbers, but y cannot equal to 4 in this case, the asymptote for y.